Today we're going to talk about percent of change. All right, so we're going to talk about how much a value changes in percent. And that percent could be an increase or that percent can be a decrease. So we're going to talk about both. Obviously, it's a percent decrease. That means it became a lesser value. All right, if it's a percent increase, it became a higher value. So a percent decrease would be like if it started off at $40 and then it went down to $20. An increase would be if it started off at $20 and went up to $40. So we're going to talk about both. All right, to do this, we're going to use this formula shown below. That formula is change over original. So change over original is equal to percent over 100. So if we follow that formula, it's going to be pretty easy for us moving forward. All right, we're going to skip right down to our steps. So there's 3 steps to this. The first step is we're going to find the amount of the increase by subtracting the lesser number from the greater number. All right, so that's going to be the change. So we're going to subtract the lesser number from the greater number, and that's going to be the change, and that's going to go in that numerator spot right above. And then we're going to identify the original quantity. That original quantity is going to go in the denominator spot, which is labeled original. And then we're going to use the formula to plug in and we're going to use a formula below to plug in your numbers. So they said formula below, but it's really this formula up top. All right, so it's really only 3 steps, and we'll cross multiply and divide, and we'll be able to get our answer. So we're going to work a couple problems from this page, and we're going to use all those steps to see what it turns out to be. So number 1, it says the temperature increased from 60 degrees to 75 degrees. Find the percent of increase. All right, so step 1 said that we're going to find the change. But before all that, I like to write down my formula. So I'm going to write down change over original is equal to percent over 100. Step 1 says we're going to find the change. All right, so it increased from 60 degrees to 75 degrees. If I want to figure out the change there, I'm going to have to subtract 60 from 75. So step 1 says we're going to go ahead and subtract the smaller number from the greater number. And now we have 15. So I know my change is going to be 15. So I'm going to go ahead and write my fraction bars here. And I know 100 is going to go on the bottom already. And where it says change, I'm going to put 15 on that spot. All right, my next step, I'm going to find the original value. The original value is usually the first number you see. The temperature went from 60, so it started off at 60. If it started off at 60, then that means 60 is going to be our original. All right, and then we're trying to figure out the percent of increase. We don't know the percent, so an X is going to go in the percent spot. All right, so now we could go ahead and start cross-multiplying, and we'll solve that equation. Before I cross-multiply, though, I always like to see if I can simplify. I know that 15 can go into 60 4 times, so that means that 15 and 60 are both divisible by 15. 15 divided by 15 gets me 1. 60 divided by 15 gets me 4. So now I'm going to cross-multiply. I'm going to multiply x times 4, and I'm going to multiply 100 times 1. So x times 4 is going to give me 4x. And then 100 times 1 is going to get me 100. All right, and now I can go ahead and draw my fence, and I can divide by 4, because remember, 4 and x are multiplying. The inverse operation of multiplication is division. So I'm dividing by 4 on both sides. 4 divided by 4 gives me 1, which is the same thing as x, or 1x. All right, and now I'm dividing 100 by 4. 100 divided by 4 is going to get me 25. So now we know that there was a 25% increase. And that's all there is to it, to that one. Let's go ahead and look at the next one. It says Mr. Theory's homeroom recorded the total number of books read per month. In November, they read 65 books. In December, they read 52 books. What was the approximate percent decrease from November to December? So we're going to start off by writing down our formula. Change over original is equal to percent over 100. All right. So now step one tells us we're going to try to figure out what that change was by subtracting the lesser number from the greater number. So here are two numbers that we're using, 65 and 52. So I'm going to subtract 52 from 65. All right, so 65 minus 52 gets me 13. So now I know in that change spot, which is the numerator spot to the left, I'm going to put down 13. All right, and I know my my bottom number is going to be 100. And now I'm going to look for my original amount. Our notes told us that our original amount is where we start from. So in November, they read 65 books. In December, they read 52 books. November comes before December, so that means that 65 is going to be our original amount. So 65 will be on the bottom right there. All right, so now we know that 100, or that X is going to be where we put percent, because we don't know what percent it is just yet. All right, and now I'm looking at 65 and I'm looking at 13. Now we can start cross multiplying, guys. My bad, I kind of got ahead of myself. But I'm looking at 65 and I'm looking at 13. And I know that 13 could go into 65 and even 5 times. So that means they're both divisible by 13. 13 divided by 13 gets me 1. 65 divided by 13 gets me 5. So now I'm going to cross multiply. I'm going to multiply 5 times X, and I'm going to multiply 1 times 100. All right, 5 times X is going to give me 5X. And then 1 times 100 is going to give me 100. So now we have 5X is equal to 100. So it's just a simple one-step equation. I'm going to draw my fence. 5 and X are multiplying. The inverse operation is division. All right, 5 divided by 5 is 1, so we're left with 1x. 100 divided by 5 is going to give me 20. So we have x is equal to 20. So our answer would be, that is a 20% decrease. All right, moving on, number 3. Number 3 says, Leon's social studies average in the first quarter was a 96. In the second quarter, his average was an 80. What was the percent decrease in his social studies grade? Come on, Leon, we made a 96 the first quarter, and then we dropped down to an 80. Man, what's going on? I bet Leon got a girlfriend. He got a girlfriend, and now he doesn't really care about his grades anymore. It happens to all of us. So we're going to put change over original is equal to percent over 100. All right, so the first thing we want to do is figure out the change. Start off at 96, then he dropped to an 80. So we're going to subtract 80 from 96. So 96 minus 80, and that's going to give me 16. So now we know that the change here is 16. So we're going to put 16 on the top. We know 100 is going to go on the bottom. Now we're going to look for the original. Remember, the original is the starting value. 96 came before 80. All right, he had a 96 in the first quarter and had an 80 in the second quarter. So we're going to put 96 down for our original. All right, And now we're going to put an X for the percent because we don't know what the percent of change is just yet. All right. So I always like to simplify first. I know that 16 can go into 96 6 times. So 16 would become a 1, and 96 would become a 6. And now we would cross multiply. I'm going to multiply 6 times X, and I'm going to multiply 100 times 1. 6 times X is going to get us 6X. And then 100 times 1 is going to get us 100. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and draw our fence. Where's this? I will use orange. And then we are going to divide by 6 on both sides. So we're going to do 100 divided by 6 here. Let's see, I think I have some room down here. That's the greatest thing about using an iPad. You can just zoom. So we have 100 divided by 6. All right, 6 can go into 1. It goes into 10 one time. All right, and then 6 goes into 40 6 times. And then it goes into 40 again, 6 times. It's 36. And then it's just going to keep on keeping on. All right, so we're going to say it's about a 16 and 67/100% increase. Decrease. So 16 and 67/100% decrease. We're going to hope Leon gets back on his purpose and starts focusing on his grades and leaves them girls alone, man. Come on, man. We need you. All right, moving on to, let's do 2 more. All right, so number 1 says a membership increase from 80 to 100. So it's a membership increase. So we're going to write down our formula. Change over original is equal to percent over 100. All right, so if it went from 80 to 100, we know that the change was 20. And it went from 80 to 100. So it started off at 80. So the original amount is 80. We don't know the percent yet, so we're going to put X there. And we're going to put all of that over 100. All right, I know I can simplify it because 20 goes into 80 4 times. 20 becomes a 1, 80 becomes a 4. And now you could cross multiply. 1 times 100, and then 4 times X. 4 times X is going to get you 4X. And then 1 times 100 is going to get you 100. All right, and then now we'll divide by 4 on both sides. And that gets us X is equal to 25. So that's a 25% increase. All right, just like that. Easy enough. All right, we're going to do one off to the side because I kind of used up a lot of room right there. Oh, what is a big old number? Let's use this one down here. All right, the sale price decreased from $22 to $17. So we're going to write down change over original is equal to percent over 100. So it went from $22 to $17. That is a change in 5, all right? Because 22 minus 17 is going to give us 5. The original price was $22. We don't know the percentage change yet, but we know that we're going to put it over 100. All right, so, and I'm out of room here, but I'll just kind of show you what you'll do next. Of course, you're going to cross multiply. After you cross multiply, you'll have 22x and 500. And then you'll divide by 22 on both sides, and it'll let you know what your change is. But that concludes our notes. That's basically it. Just make sure you follow that formula, cross, multiply, and divide, and you'll be able to figure out what the percent of change is. So if you need any assistance, let one of us know. We're all here